Here's my understanding of AI at the moment. There's a lot of useful tech for consumers. Midjourney is cool. It generates images. Runway generates video. Is the video good? It's awful. It's terrible. I would never use it for a project, much less B-roll. I would much rather go to a website that offers royalty-free B-roll like Pexels than try to generate video from Runway, because right now it just looks terrible. There's programs like 11 Labs that will allow you to replicate voices, which is pretty useful. We'll get into that in a second because that's one of the issues that writers and actors are having now with the studios.
It's going to be very soon until we can literally just type in a prompt and see something as a consumer, and you don't have to have any sort of skills as a visual effects artist or as someone in the entertainment industry.
I'm hearing this argument a lot that, well, these people who don't have skills can suddenly make these things. It just means it doesn't require those skills to make them anymore. You know what it reminds me of? There's a little part of myself that kind of died when CapCut became really popular. So I spent about a decade grinding my skills as a video editor, trying to understand how to use different overlays and effects and cut in a way that makes storytelling compelling. And that took a lot of work and studying and trial and error and countless hours hunched over my PC, trying things with crappy footage and hoping that I could make something out of it. It was a great experience. But then as soon as CapCut came around, and TikTok was a big thing, suddenly everyone was able to make a flashy edit that would get tons and tons of views. And a part of me was a little jealous. I'd spent all these years trying to improve my skills as a video editor. But that represents an insecurity on my part, not something that everyone should have to conform to. Like, I don't understand. It feels like we're moving backwards for the sake of valuing people's skills, which the same silly argument could be made for automobiles. Like, oh, we have these automated vehicles now that can drive for a certain amount of hours and you just fill it up with gas. Now all the people who drive horse-drawn carriages are out of work. The people raising the horses are out of work. It's like, okay, so we're going to sacrifice convenience just to keep those? That doesn't make any sense to me. I think the idea of actors doing a job, getting their likeness copied by the studio, and never receiving residuals for their work is actually crazy.
I hope I'm wrong, but I do think that the use of AI is going to take over the entertainment industry. And I think it's going to be really bad.
There's a little bit to unpack there. I'm of the mindset that it's not really a matter of whether or not AI will take over the entertainment industry. It's a matter of when. Ultimately, it's going to come down to what the audience wants. If it looks good, the vast majority of people watching TV and movies don't care who made it. Whether it's an AI or a person, as long as it entertains them, that's all that matters. Just keeping it real. I've worked on productions at all levels, from student films with zero budget to indie productions with a couple mil. Across the board, it is a challenging process. Making a movie is not easy. If you're trying to make it good, at least, it's not easy. I think creating new ways to automate the tedious aspects of the process and the minutia are actually going to free people up to focus more on being creative and less on actually having to do the steps to make it, and have time to create more things that they want to make rather than having to spend weeks or months on a single project just because that is the technical requirement of that project. Also, the studios don't care. Whatever makes them the most amount of money for the lowest cost, it's going to be an easy choice for them. Do I think it's good that actors and writers are on strike? Yes. And mainly because I don't think this whole thing is being given enough attention. Like, if they didn't go on strike, the studios would just take more advantage of them under their noses. You'd have the writers over here working really hard, and then you'd have the producer over here on ChatGPT coming up with the script and then going, oh, actually, we didn't use your idea. Todd over in internships actually had a better one. And so we're going to dock your pay a little bit there. Also, no healthcare.
In the face of weak revenues, streaming companies have been issuing layoffs, bundling services, and removing content from their platforms.
Bundling services is one of the most cringe things I've ever seen. This is the reason that we don't pay for cable in this house. The idea that I only want to watch a couple channels, but in order to see them, because they're exclusively only available with this provider, I have to pay for 200 channels of complete garbage. Most of them are just, it's like jewelry slowly rotating 24 hours a day. The fact that I have to pay for that is insane. Bundling is clearly a sign that these companies are getting desperate to incur revenue in any way that they can.
While content removal helps curtail balance sheet losses, the action cuts off content creators from receiving residual profits, often without any formal notification.
So that's a tricky one. You want to save money by cutting off content, but now you're cutting off the residual payment that actors have historically been receiving for a while, which is huge. It's really important for performers to get that. Our proposal is that writers may not be assigned AI generated material to adapt, nor may AI software generate covered literary material. I'm actually a little bit shocked at how black and white these proposals are. I would have thought maybe there would have been some implementation, like maybe if a writer uses AI to supplement their work, then the writer still gets complete credit or something like that. I'm going to tell you right now, I have a gut feeling that even if AI accomplishes a ton of great things, something really big and bad is going to happen unless we use it properly. And knowing humans' track record as it stands now, can't say I'm super confident about that. Fingers crossed, here's to hoping. Knock on wood. It's drywall, close enough.
The Alliance's unwillingness to outline strict policies around generative AI tools has led to a stalemate.
Yeah, they're not going to outline strict policies because they want to use it to make more profit. There's a reason they're being ambiguous because they're thinking, who do these actors and writers think they are asking for money for their work? Again, do I think AI will be able to replace the duties of members? It's very possible. At the exponential rate of progress that technology is going at now, this stuff is moving fast, faster than anyone can anticipate or keep up with. So I'm really curious to see what this looks like in a short amount of time. I'm not going to be naive and pretend that human creativity can't be replaced by artificial intelligence. If the audience buys it, they don't care who makes it. It's the unfortunate truth. If these unions were really smart about it, they will study how it works, the possible direction it's going, and how it might be implemented into the workflow, and base their measures around how that's happening.
Really, I think the place that we are going to as a society is prompt to entertainment. Literally being able to type in, I want to see an action movie, and I want it to be funny, and I want it to take place in Texas, go. And it spits out a movie.
Okay, if that's the future we're going to, I'm telling you right now, I love Midjourney. I like ChatGPT for helping me come up with alternative words or brainstorming a bunch of ideas. But to say that like I'm going to write the whole movie using AI, it just, I don't know, that just seems so boring. This is a very sort of like purist view that AI is just going to control everything. I think how it'll really work, AI will speed up the workflow of certain filmmaking processes, and humans will still be responsible of bringing them all together, right? If I have an idea for a script, I still got to have the log line, I got to have the treatment, and I got to have the script itself. Now, I could get AI to do all of that, but I won't know if any of those things cohesively match up unless I, as a human, sit down and analyze them and go back and revise it. Again, AI as it stands right now is not a finished product. It is supplementary. Help me with this idea. Help me flesh out that. Give me an image for this. Great. I'm going to take all of that and put it together using other artists who know what they're doing.
He's the founder of Curious Refuge, a production hub and learning portal for AI filmmakers.
Okay, whether you're for or against AI, what you should be doing is going on sites like this and figuring out how it works. Just straight up figuring out how it works so that you don't sit back like some of these old heads going, oh, wait a minute, AI is destroying everything. Well, why is it destroying everything? Do some research and figure out why it's destroying everything, okay? I bet you half these people who are talking smack about AI would spend 5 seconds on one of these sites and go, it's actually kind of useful. Well, it's kind of like those cat photos. Hey, hang on. Can you make a cat out of popsicle sticks?
AI generates content through a digestive process. The model takes in pre-existing content, both copyright protected and public domain. From this, it produces an amalgamation of information.
So there's this sentiment that AI is stealing work from artists. And I can only speak a little bit on this because I don't know how the actual learning process functions, if it's really iterative learning or if it's this copy and paste, but I'm going to combine two things together. My perspective of it is humans steal all the time, right? In fact, all good inspiration comes from looking at something you really like and creating your own variation of it in a way without directly copying it. To my knowledge, I've never generated any piece of AI art that was like, oh my God, I saw that on some other site. Like it just straight up stole it. I mean, I suppose you could do that if you made the prompt specific enough, but I don't see how the AI learning it is different from a human learning from watching things that they like. So to me, that just sounds like people coping because they aren't adaptable enough to figure out something in their field that they enjoy besides just that one specific facet. But we'll see how that pans out legally.
What the inspiration source was, and it seemingly is something that's coming from thin air.
I love the irony of him explaining that you would never know where the inspiration came from as they're literally showing an image that's clearly inspired by James Cameron's Avatar.
Well, I think writers now are going to have more power than ever before to direct these creative projects.
Okay, this I agree with. And I will tell you from firsthand experience that I feel so much more empowered as a creator when I can just churn out an image that I thought of immediately and use it as reference. I don't understand why people are of this, you're either AI or you're against AI. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. It's a tool, just like the camera's a tool. Are you saying we shouldn't have film cameras because everything should only be done live like a play? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. We shouldn't have autofocus. Everything should be manually focus pulled because you're taking away the jobs of the focus puller on set.
I think the idea that AI would democratize entertainment is absolutely ridiculous. What that's really saying is that the unskilled and the untalented would be able to pretend that they're skilled and talented.
Oh, man, that's a hell of a response. She says it's ridiculous without really clarifying why it's ridiculous, other than people who have certain skills should be the gatekeepers of creating those things because they have those skills. The idea that success is predicated by talent, we've known this is not true for a long time. Success in a monetary sense is based on creating an idea that a lot of people find value in at a time where it's valuable. If my non-artist friend has an idea that they want to make happen, but they don't have the means or resources to make it the traditional way, you're really going to say, no, you can't do that because you don't have the skills? Like, are we just gatekeeping for the sake of gatekeeping because we want, like, well, I worked so hard to build this skill. Now something else is coming and taking it away and making me obsolete. No, you can't have nice things if I'm not the only person who can make it for you. It's just such a selfish mindset when you hear it spoken out loud like that.
I look back in the days of when YouTube first started, and there was this idea that because YouTube is this open platform and anyone can create videos, that users themselves would replace studios out there creating all their own content because it was free to upload, it was free to stream. But the reality is we're all looking for the best content. 80% of your traffic comes from 20% of your content. But with video, it's storytelling. And I believe you have to have a human to really tell that story.
That is a very interesting point. When YouTube became a thing, it did not destroy the film or television industry. So it may very well be a situation where AI generated art, people are going to cringe at me saying that, will have its own niche that people enjoy. And guess what? It's perfectly fine. People like that. If you want to keep making movies the way you've always made them, great, go for it. If you want to create projects using AI, great. Go for it. This anti-AI elitism that's starting to seep out is kind of hilarious to watch unfold. And this is coming from someone who is a filmmaker, who's worked on productions where the whole thing was shot with film, which, by the way, is such a pain in the ass. You have no idea. But it is for the art of it. This is why we film. It is for the experience or something like that. AI is going to get better. There is no doubt. But with it is going to come a cost. And I don't know if we are ready to incur that cost yet. The things you're seeing right now, you might think are crazy advanced. Just imagine what's happening behind the scenes. The stuff we don't hear about, like it's only hinted or rumored. If the people behind that are nervous about what they're creating, I'm starting to feel a little nervous too, not gonna lie. As much as I think AI is cool, it does scare me because there will always be this double-edged sword of the benefits versus the evil that can be accomplished with it. The scammers, the grifters, people with ill intent are going to take any technology and twist it into something to meet their own short-term goals. If you enjoyed the commentary, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you're interested in some of my other content as well as some of the film work that I've produced, consider subscribing to the channel. Stay at it, Dragoons.